and we'll be heading at the end to Mount of Beatitudes. I was planning also to add the multiplication, but I don't know how the time will be playing with us. Anyway, we leave the city center of Nazareth, and we are driving along the road. First thing that we will see, the important thing for tourists, for pilgrims, is the Mary's Well. We explain a little bit about Mary's Well. Usually I tell the people, this is not the original Mary's Well. And I tell them such a story, maybe I exaggerate, meaning بزيدها شوي. This is more or less a modern Mary's Well. The old one that our generation, Jilna, our generation remembers, was demolished, destroyed in the 60s, 1960s, because it was old and it is not nice for people coming from the civilized world to see an old Mary's Well. So they demolished it and built a new one that was again demolished and rebuilt. But during the digging of the foundations, they discovered ruins from earlier time. And in order to preserve muhafadha, to preserve the foundations, the archaeological findings, they changed all the plan. And they restart digging, and they found older relics, bakaya, archaeological relics. And they changed the plan again. And they started to dig deeper for the foundation. And finally, they decided if we continue to dig more and more, we'll get to hell at the end. So they built this one. People used to drink from this water. Personally, I used to drink from this Mary's Well in the 50s, 60s, 70s, until they discovered that the water coming from the spring, this is Mary's Well, from the spring that is located inside the Greek Orthodox Church, from the spring to Mary's Well, they discovered during the restoration of the front yard of the church that the water pipes are broken, and some of the water arriving to Mary's Well is mixed with the sewage water, al-majari. And people, pilgrims, even local people, they used to drink from the holy sewage water. Finally, the Ministry of Health decided to close, to shut up the stream of water from the spring to Mary's Well, and now we have a dry Mary's Well. So this is the first thing that I explain to the pilgrims. Then we continue. On the way, we have the school. For example, I talk about the school, the Baptist High School, where I had my secondary education. Then we have the School of St. Joseph. It is very special for me because my mother studied there. Not in this one. In fact, she studied in the old one next to the Church of Annunciation. But I tell the people that my mother studied there, I studied there, my children also. So it is a very special place for me. And we continue, we pass by the Holy Family Hospital, Namsawi, Holy Family, العائلة المقدسة. I tell people that there are 3 missionary hospitals in Nazareth. Nazareth Hospital, French Hospital, and the Holy Family Hospital. And all of them are missionary hospitals originally. Then we continue. First village that we face will be Reni, will be the village of Reni. We have ruins of Reni here. Some people ask me, is it in the Bible? No, it is not in the Bible. And there are many theories about the name, why it was called Reni, how old is Reni. So if I know that in case that there are some scholars, educated people, university people, professors, students who are interested in history, in geography, etc., I add a little bit of information about Reni. For example, this picture, I mentioned the story of the earthquake 1927 that destroyed a lot of buildings in the Holy Land. And I mentioned that Reni, the name of Reni, is derived from maybe somebody, one of the commanders, Qa'id, Quwad, one of the commanders whose name was Rene, or because of an old name, Rani. Anyway, we don't know exactly, but we know historically that Reni existed during the Middle Bronze Age, the Persian period, that is 5th, 4th century BC, before Christ, Hellenistic, also early and Middle Roman period, etc. And I mention, usually I mention, that something interesting was discovered there, that is pottery imported from Syria and Italy in the 14th to the 16th century AD, Anno Domini. So these things were found in the place, and that indicates that the village had a strong economy during the Mamluk period. Something interesting that in 1881, the PEF, Palestinian Exploration Fund, in their survey about Western Palestine, they described Reni with such words: a large village of well-built houses, which means people had money, and Reni was important, maybe because of its location, maybe because of the water. You can connect the story of the water with Siporis, Safuria. And there were about 500 Christian and Muslims living there. That is 1881. And there is a spring, called Ain Kana. It is still there, not gushing. Gushing, yeah, means to give a lot of water. Sorry, I even don't know the word in Arabic. Yanbor.
Yeah.
It is not gushing a lot of water, and the place is full with a lot of olive groves. بساتين الزيتون. So that is about rainy. Oh, by the way, I also can mention, because we are going from high to low, I mentioned that the altitude, the height of Nazareth is 347 meters. When we go to Reni, it is 330 meters. Now we come to Mashhad, it is even higher than Nazareth, 348 meters. So we talk about Mashhad, and we remind people we are not talking about Mashhad in Iran. We are talking about Mashhad in Palestine, in Israel today. And the most important thing I mentioned is the story of Jonah, Nabi Yunus, Jonah. That according to the traditions, this is where he was born, and this is where he was buried. And local people can show you where is the tomb of Jonah. A question that I usually ask people, I don't know how many of the pilgrims know the story of Jonah. By the way, and this is something serious. If you have a Catholic group, don't expect them to know the Bible. Usually Catholics don't read the Bible. Sorry to say that. In general, Catholics don't read the Bible. Protestant, they read the Bible, even when they are kids. Personally, when I was at the Salesian school, Don Bosco, we were not allowed to have a Bible at home. The first Bible I had was when I joined the Baptist school. They gave me a Bible. That is when I started to read the Bible. So most of the people on the bus, if this is a Catholic group, don't know the story. Maybe they know that Jonas was swallowed by a big fish. In some editions, depends on which Bible you are reading, King James, NIV, whatever. They say a whale, a big whale, like the one you see in Jaffa. I asked them, do you have any idea why Jonah ran away towards the sea? Why he went to the sea and not to the desert or to the mountains when he wanted to escape from the face of God? The answer is, in that time, they believed that God doesn't live in the sea. There is no God in the sea. So that was secure, amen. That was a secure place for Jonah to hide from God. He went to the sea, and it seems God realized that Jonah will die in the sea. Maybe he was not a good swimmer, so he sent him that big fish that swallowed him. So this is something for general information. That is about Mashhad, the town of Mashhad. Then we are on the bus. I asked the people to look down, and you will see Cana. Cana in Galilee. By the way, we can explain a little bit about the topography, طبقات, the topography of Galilee. We have three sections, three parts: Lower Galilee, Middle Galilee, and Upper Galilee. So the topography of Galilee is divided into three sections, and we are heading at the end of our visit today to the Lower Galilee, very close to the Sea of Galilee. So we are going now to Cana, excuse me. About Cana, I will not explain about the construction, the building of Cana. Usually we say, oh, look to the facade al-wajha, facade of the church of Cana. It is with two towers, that is the bride and the groom, al-arus wal-aris, and we start explaining things. I am not going there. First of all, I explained that the church is owned by the custody of the Holy Land. The custody of the Holy Land is part of the Franciscan order in the Catholic Church. The current church that we see in front of us was built around the year 1881. 1881, and was expanded between 1897 and 1905. Remember last lecture, I mentioned, usually we don't say 1897. We say 1987, 1905. So that will be more understood by the people and easier for pronunciation. The Franciscans acquired the site, that means owned the site, bought the site in 1641. In fact, they didn't get all the site in 1641. It took them almost 150 to 200 years, between 1641 to 1879, when the acquisition, imtilak, was completed. Finally, the whole complex was owned by the Franciscans. In the 20th century, the excavations indicated that before the current church was built, the site housed, there was in the site a Jewish synagogue in the 4th, 5th centuries, maybe along 100 years, a little bit less, more, but in that period of time. And a proof for that, the inscription that we see in the floor inside the church. That is first thing. Then I mentioned the facade that we have today was built 1901. The facade of the church, 1901, and the altar of the church officially was consecrated, Kuddisa or Burika, consecrated, in September 1906. I'm talking about the upper altar. Why do we have two altars? Because in the past, some of you maybe still remember, when the priest celebrated Mass, his back was to the people. Later on, Rome, the Pope, the Vatican, allowed that the priest can face the people, or in fact, must face the people. So the small altar in front of us was added in order to follow the new instructions of the Vatican. Some restoration started in the 1990s. And one of my friends, who was the priest in charge in Cana, his name was Father Jacques Karam, in fact, invested a lot to restore this place, to renovate this place, to beautify it. And the work completed, we don't say ended, was completed 1999. 1999. A few things that usually we don't learn when we go to the course of guiding. Cana is known for being the scene of Jesus' first miracle. Usually we say first miracle. The Bible doesn't mention miracle. Originally in the Bible, the word miracle doesn't exist. But during the translations, they change it to make it easier for people to understand. In the Bible, it is called sign. Jesus did not perform miracles. But because we don't understand what happened, we say, oh, this is miracle. So they translated into miracle. So what happened in Cana was the first, if you want, miraculous sign of Jesus. The first miraculous sign of Jesus. Or the first public miraculous sign of Jesus. Because it seems, even we can conclude, Nastantes concludes from the story that Jesus had many miracles before that. I'll explain about that. So in that miracle, Jesus changed the water into wine at a wedding feast. The story is mentioned in the Gospel of John, chapter 2. Now, some commentators, mualliqin, claim the wedding might have possibly been that of a close relative of Jesus. That means who are celebrating the wedding are very close relatives, aqriba, of Jesus. The story starts in the Bible like this. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana in Galilee. Mary was there. Notice, Mary was not invited. Mary already was there. Jesus and his disciples were invited. Okay? So why Mary was there? Many of the scholars believe that Mary was there because she was part of the wedding hosts. مستقبلين أو مضيفين, hosts. And they believe that the wedding was of her nephew. The groom was John himself. And the mother of John is supposed to be the sister of Mary. And her name was Salome. So John was the cousin of Mary. But because he is coming with his disciples, so he was invited. I think if he was alone, he doesn't need an invitation. Mary was there, and Jesus was invited. So why there was less wine? People knew Jesus, this man from Nazareth. They heard that he can cure, يشفي, he can heal many health problems. So they came to the wedding, not because they loved the groom or the bride. They came to the wedding because they wanted to take advantage of Jesus. My father is very sick. I want to see this man called Yeshua, and probably he can help with healing him. I want my mother, my people came on the first day. They sat down, they started to drink, to sing, to eat, to dance, and Jesus did not show up. Lam yadhar. So they came again on the second day because it was urgent. And in a new group on the second day, Yom Sheni, and I explained that the days in the Jewish calendar don't have names, they have numbers. Only Shabbat has a name. So on the first day, Yom Rishon, second day, third day. When the third day came, the wine almost was consumed. Consumed. But أمل إنكم you understand what does it mean. استهلكوا, استهلك, consumed. So there was no more wine. And this is one part. The second part, there were 6 stone jars. The important thing is the word stone. It can help us to understand where was the wedding, not the location. Who was the host? People usually had pottery, fukhar, pottery jars. It is cheaper. You can find it everywhere. But stone jars were more expensive, and water or wine can stay almost for 7 days clean, because the water that was in the jars was for purification, not for drinking, was for purification. So Mary, knowing that her son is coming, she knew that he can solve the problem. And Mary was in the women's section. You know, men and women are not supposed to be mixed. So she came from the women's section to the men's section to tell her son, that probably already knew that there is no more wine left. She came to the men's section and said to her son, they have no more wine left. There is no more wine. And Jesus said to her, woman, don't involve me in this. My time did not come yet. Usually I ask the people on the bus before arriving to the church, pilgrims, I have a question for the women on the bus, especially the mothers on the bus. Please, only mothers answer the question. And my question is, if your son, suppose he is 25, 30 years old, in a mall, in a big supermarket, comes to you and say, hey, woman, buy me an ice cream. What is your reaction? What will be your reaction? Oh, this is impolite, this is rude, this is this, that. I say, okay, this is Jesus. He said to his mother, woman. But the way he used the word woman was very polite, very intelligent, very smart, because he saved his mother, who came with good intention. Good intention, kavanah tova. She came with good intention to tell her son, there is no more wine. Remember, Jesus is about 30 years old. Mary, more or less, 43, 44, and there is no Joseph. If I am allowed to say, she was a widow. So immediately, before she came into the men's section, Jesus raised his head. I'm talking cultural, not biblical. I want the people to understand the culture, the local culture. And that is the culture of Jesus, even somehow in some places today also. He said to his mother, woman, because he knew if he will say to his mother, hey, mother, please don't come here. This is a place for men. This is not for women. And, mother, she will be already in the middle of the men's section. So he made it short. Woman, meaning mother. Remember, you are a woman. Why? Because a woman in her age coming to the men's section, the only interpretation, tafsir, from a cultural point of view, she is saying, hi guys, I am available. I am here if anybody wants to get engaged or married. And that is a scandal. So Jesus solved this problem, solved this issue. This is just what I usually tell the people. And people don't know this. Even the priests and the pastors don't know the culture. And it is good for us, the guides, to explain about our culture. I tell the people, if you want to understand the Bible, you need to understand the culture. Okay. There is something else. People ask me, is this the place where the wedding took place? I tell them, first of all, Jesus had never been to a church. So the answer is no. The wedding was not in a church. And the wedding would never be in such a small area. Plus, if you look behind you, if we are facing the facade, there is a Greek Orthodox church. So if I am with a Christian, well, they say, when they say Christian, they mean Protestant. If you are with a Christian group or Catholic group, you come here and say, in this area, the wedding took place. If you are with the Greek Orthodox group, you go to the Greek Orthodox Church and say, this is where the wedding took place. And in both cases, that is true, because the wedding is an open area divided into two sections, one for the men, one for the women. And I mentioned the two jars that are in the Church of the Greek Orthodox. They are stone jars, not like the jar here in front of us, because it doesn't look like purely stone jar, and it is not for water or wine. Look to the opening, how big it is. If you put wine in it, that will be unclean wine, unclean wine. And the water was used for purification, for cleansing. There is a big difference between clean and cleanse. Cleanse is more religious. Clean is physical, something physical. So that is about Cana. There is a lot more to explain about Cana. Anyway, as I mentioned, I will send you the material, the article that I prepared, and you can read it. There is a lot to learn there. Okay, we leave now Cana. We leave the church. On the way, I can mention this church of Bartimaeus. Some people will not be interested. Some people will not be interested. In fact, most of the people, because after seeing the church of the first miracle or the wedding, this is a marginal, janibigi, marginal church. So, but for us, in case you want a mass and the church is full during the high season, you can ask the priest or the nun in charge if you can have a service in this church. I had a service and renewal twice in this church. Not always they agree, but I was able to have services here. So we leave now Cana, and we start going down. By the way, also here I mentioned that Cana is about 200 meters over the sea level. Remember, we came from Nazareth, 347, Rainy, 330, Mashhad, 348, and now Cana, 200, and we start going down. We go down along the main road with Turan, the village, and the field, the valley of Turan. Turan is Aramaic name, old Aramaic name. Tur is mountain, like you, Jabal Tur. Tur is mountain, and probably is a flock of animals or something like the mountain of the flock. Maybe I am wrong, but this is what I know. But biblically, in this area, I explain something from the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6. There is a story that it is good to read it on the bus before you arrive. That means a few minutes after you leave Cana, you ask the people on the bus to open their Bible, that means their cellular phones, Luke 6. There is a story that starts like one Shabbat, one Sabbath, Jesus was walking with his disciples, and they entered a field of wheat. That's why this place is called by the local people the field of wheat. They entered the field of wheat, they picked kernels, they rubbed the kernels, sanabel, and ate the grains. And the Pharisees came to Jesus and said to him, why do you allow your disciples to do what is unlawful, unlawful to for Sabbath? That means to go inside and work in the sense of picking and rubbing, and this is work in Sabbath. And Jesus told them, do you remember when David went to the temple and he entered the place where there is the consecrated bread, al-khubz al-muqaddas, that only priests can eat from it? He took the bread and distributed, and people ate it. Then he added a very important sentence, and this sentence that he said was one of the excuses of his enemies that originally were his friends, the people of Nazareth, or later on in Jerusalem, and so on. The Son of Man is the Lord of Sabbath. Man is more important than Sabbath. And this, they did not like it. The Jews, they did not like it. By the way, I want to add some information. I don't know how many of you know it. It is not related to our story, our visit today. The word Jew in English, not in Hebrew, not in French, in English, Jew, is not originally in the Bible. This is not a biblical word. The original word is Judean. A person from Judea is Judean. A person from Galilee is Galilean. Okay? The first time the word Jew appeared in the Bible is in the second edition of King James Bible. That was 1611. 1611. And it was changed for many reasons, for many purposes. I will not go there now, but just for your information. And something also interesting, when Jesus was crucified, they put on the top of the cross a sign, INRI, INRI. And they taught us, Jesus of Nazareth, King Rex, King of the Jews. That is wrong. Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Judeans, not the Jews, Judeans. Why? Because on the Palm Sunday, people were singing, Hoshana, Hoshana, Hosanna, Hosanna, King of Israel, King of whatever. And the Romans thought that this man from Galilee, they think he will be the king of Judea. And they were mocking it maskaro. They were mocking that Jesus of Nazareth in Galilee is king of the Judeans, because Judeans were looking down at the Galileans. Who are you? We have the temple, we are in Jerusalem, etc. So this is just a side note.
But they don't drink arak.
Okay. As I mentioned before, there is a lot about Cana to learn. I will send you the material that I collected, I wrote, etc. And if you can understand it, you will be more confident in what you explain. Now we continue towards Tiberias, but we are not going to go straight to Tiberias. We will turn left to go through an area called Summit Golani that is part of the Roman road. Some people believe, and there are evidences, like you see here in the picture on the screen. This is the Roman roads, part of the Roman roads. And we will be driving not on the Roman road, but close to the Roman road. And you can see how they constructed the roads, different levels. The Romans were experts in construction. And we can know that like an example only from Herod the Great. So why we are going this way? We are trying to follow the steps of Jesus. By the way, here on the way, we see the horns of Hittim. The horns of Hittim. You can say a few words about the horns of Hittim, that this is where the Crusaders defeated the Arabs defeated the Crusaders. And notice, I said the Arabs, because in the army, there are some historians that mentioned that there were Christians. There were a lot of Christians in the army of Saladin, not Salah ad-Din, because if you say Salah ad-Din, they will not understand it. Saladin. Oh, Saladin. Okay, we know. So this is where the Arabs defeated the Crusaders, and that was the beginning of the end of the Crusaders in the Holy Land. By the way, the word Crusaders originally from the word crusade. Crusade, if you want another word in English, campaign. حملة. الحملة الصليبية. ما نقولش الصليبيين، بنقول الحملة الصليبية. Campaign. Crusade means campaign. But during the Iraqi war, they said, oh, the Crusaders are coming, because Bush said, we'll start a crusade. So it was explained as, oh, the Crusaders, the Christians are coming. So you need to know that the word crusade not necessarily means Christians. It is a campaign. Okay, so you explain a little bit about the horns of Hittim. Then we can continue, and we keep going down. And you give a remark, guys. Probably some of you will feel some popping. لما بتسدد الدنين. You will feel popping in your ears because of the difference in altitude. We came from 347. We are going down now to 200, 150, and we'll end at 200 minus 220 almost. So if you feel any popping in your ears, that is natural, like in the aeroplane. Okay, that is That is the story of Cana and the fields. Also, when we are at we talk about Luke 6, don't forget to mention the wire that is stretched along the roads. Maybe in that area you don't see the wire, but you see it in Jewish areas. That wire is called Sabbath boundary. Why? So Jews don't cross and don't leave formally the area of the city, in order to not to make such a mistake, like in brackets, like the disciples of Jesus. We have this Sabbath boundary. I remember in Manhattan, there is such a wire. By the way, in English, in the States, the Jews called it a roof. In Hebrew, a roof, from the word le'arvev, a roof. You can Google it and they explain it for you. But this is important. And you can also mention that religious Jews on Sabbath are not allowed to walk more than a Sabbath walk journey. Sabbath walk journey, which is more or less 900 yards. Let's say more or less 1 kilometer. 1 kilometer. Those are for general distance. Okay, we continue now. We go down towards that area where you turn right in order to go to Magdala. From the main road at the Golani Junction, you keep going down, then right. That is the Roman road, more or less. Something that I mentioned there, I tell people, usually I guide the groups from Indonesia and the Philippines. There are a lot of mango trees, mango groves. I tell them, you can see the olive trees, you can see the mango, and our mango is much more delicious than the Filipino mango. And all the bus will say, oh no, what are you talking about? Well, you didn't taste it yet. How do you know that it is not? Don't complain. Yeah, but we know our mango. No, yes, you know your mango, but you don't know our mango. Our mango is very tasty because it is holy mango. So for them, it is, oh yeah, we want to taste it because they want to taste holy mango. This is also for some jokes on the bus, because if you are all the time serious, people will get bored, trust me. Later on, we see on our right the Mount of Arbel. You can mention few things about Arbel, the caves, the wall, the synagogue up on the top, the view. This is historical things that I am not going to explain. And if you want, you can explain about Wadi al-Hamam. I heard many stories about Wadi al-Hamam. So each one has his own story. You can make it with some spices usually to make it nice story. And people would love to see the cliff Munhadar. because it is unique. And you can mention also, while there, about the tectonic activities. Tectonic literally means all the changes in the plateau lawhat underground, when there are earthquake, volcanic activities, if you want, that happened 40 to 60 million years, creating the Syrian African rift. That we can do that when we explain, when we talk about the Sea of Galilee, the Dead Sea, the Arava, etc. But you can give a clue about a hint, a little bit explanation about these. You can mention the synagogue, the ruins, and if the group goes to places where there was a temple or a building or a synagogue, you can show them the pillars that fell. Some of them are not in situ, they were rearranged, but in general, the shape and the direction of the pillars on the ground can tell you the movement, the direction of the movement, and how the mountains in the east moved about 17 to 20 kilometers up north, while the ones to the west did not move, according to the geologists. Then we come down. Magdala is in front of us. You explain about Magdala a little bit, since we are not going to visit there today. We continue along what you see here down, the Gennesaret Valley. Gennesaret Valley. Gennesaret is one of the names of the Sea of Galilee in the Bible. And we have a few names of the Sea of Galilee. We have Gennesaret, we have the Sea of Galilee or the Lake of Galilee, we have Tiberias and Kinneret. Kinneret is the Jewish word, and you explain why Kinneret, because it looks like what is called in English Kinor. Kinor originally is Quithara. In English, there is another name for that. It is lyre, L-Y-E-R, lyre, a musical instrument with 10 strings, autar, that David used to play in order to, let's say, amuse King Saul when he was depressed. So that is about the valley of Gennesaret. Then we go to Mount of Beatitudes. We go to the Mount of Beatitudes. The Mount of Beatitudes is a mountain on the northwest of the Sea of Galilee. The place was not originally the Mount of Beatitudes. Originally, the Mount of Beatitudes is somewhere else. I don't know how many people of you were able to visit. I don't know how many people ever visited a cave called the Cave of Eremos. The cave of Eremos, if you come out, are we okay with the time?
Well, we still have something like 10, 12 minutes.
Okay, then we'll
They
stop here.
advise here. They
We'll
advise
stop here.
not to begin with the medicine because it's a big
Okay,
site.
okay.
Maybe a little bit around
Let them,
the lake.
we'll make
downstairs, down the hill.
questions. We'll make questions.
Yeah, I mean it's 7. We are already 1 hour.
Yeah, okay.
So,
If anybody has a question,
yeah, Abu
please.
Samra, already you are so quick.
Let's finish the Beatitudes.
The attitude is long.
It's long piece.
يعطيكم
Yeah,
العافية.
Yeah, just we give
Yeah.
add more time to question to express
Yeah, yeah.
themselves. By the way, before excuse me, Abu Sabra, just 1 second. I'll give you the opportunity. I give you for those who don't come in the early beginning. They enjoy us during the lecture. I put this picture just to tell you, to show you
difference.
there's difference in the language for American English and British English. As you see in the left side is circled by red. The American, they say the first floor, and the right with blue. The British, they say ground floor. So it depends which group with you. Just know there's something like that in the language difference between the British and the American. And I give you a question. How do you say it in American English or British English? Translate from Arabic, Maklubit Zahra. How you translate it? Maybe you send it by the chat or for the next meeting. Anyway, Abu Samra, تفضل. تفضل.
يعطيك العافية أستاذ. يعطيك العافية. هيك بس بدي معنى 4 كلمات. يعني أول شيء أبدعت كالعادة يا أستاذ خليل.
شكرا حبيبي شكرا.
كلمة المجاري.
Can you speak in English, please?
Yes. What's the word of majari? I don't hear very well.
Sewage.
Sewage.
Sewage. SEWE.
Okay.
Okay.
You said Juna buy fish. I don't hear the word.
Jonah was swallowed. بلع.
Swallowed?
بلع. ابتلع. Swallow.
Okay. فخار.
Pottery. POTTERY. Pottery.
Pottery. Thank you. That's it.
أهلا وسهلا. Welcome.
Welcome. Yes, please, Radi. Yeah. Make a mute and please.
Okay, I highly appreciate everything you have presented.
Thank
First.
you.
Second, I have 2 questions. The first one about Sabbath boundary, and you have mentioned wire. Is it visible that we can see it? This is the first
it is
one.
not visited. It is not something that you visit.
No, visible. Can we see it?
Oh yeah, visible. Yeah, sure. You can usually see it on one side of the road in Jewish areas, either on the right or to the left. You see a wire, very, very thin wire, that you see it in order to separate the boundaries of the city or village, of the area of where you are living, and the outside of it, that you are not allowed to get in on Sabbath. Maybe somebody else has more information about it, but this is what I read and I know.
Okay, thank you. And the second question is, Abu Tariq once had taught me that the name of Kinneret, okay, there is another story about it, that Kinor that we know nowadays, it's not the name, the same Kinor of David the king, okay, it's different. And Kinneret, it is related, okay, to the fruit of the Sisyphus there. It's called Kinnar. Is it right, Abu Tariq?
There was a city with the name Kinneret in the north of the lake of Kinneret. According to this city, Canaanite city, they called Kinneret. According to the city, not according to the musical Abtarir.
Well, according to the Jews, it is because of the shape. I know
No,
what
you
meant.
can read in the encyclopedia Ariel. I have the encyclopedia.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I read it in Encyclopedia Britannica. I don't know which one is correct. I agree with you because everyone wants his theory is to be the real one. But
This is the story of.
Abu Tariq, we all learn
Naam.
from you. Trust me.
Thank you.
Habibi.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please. Who's next? Jamil, you would like to say something?
I want to ask a question.
I want to tell Radi, Mr. Radi.
Nadia after Jamil. Please, Jamil. Please.
Radi, can you hear me? The archaeologists found two statues in Kinarot, in the hill of Kinarot,
Yeah.
Tal Areji. Two statues of the king and the queen of a Canaanite queen, maybe there. The king called Kinar and the queen called Kinneret. And they are today, they put it in the Israeli museum today.
Are
This
they
is
Canaan?
That's, I think.
Okay, Abu Tariq.
Okay, Nadia,
Thank
please
you.
make unmute,
Yes.
please. Yes, your question.
Yes, I want to ask a question. When we want to say it's like in Arabic, it's نجس أو طاهر. This is in Arabic. In English, we can say clean and unclean. It's okay, or there is another word for this.
Yeah, you can use clean, unclean, pure, impure, impure.
Mm. It's okay. Another question I have about the Kinor of David. We can say David harp also. This is another word. This is
Yeah,
can be okay.
yeah. But Abu Tariq just gave me new information that it has nothing to do with the harp.
No, it's okay. We don't discuss if it's
Yeah, it is very
okay or
okay.
not. Only the word. I want to know the word. If it's
Yeah,
okay or
harp,
not.
H-A-R-P.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. Yes. تفضل.
Again to the fire of iron of Shabbat. In Hebrew, it's called Gvul Shabbat, Hudud Sabbath, Gvul Shabbat. Thank you.
What?
جبول شباط مظبوط.
Gvul Shabbat in
Tchum.
Hebrew, yeah.
مش
Yeah,
تقول
yeah, in
تحوم
Hebrew.
Sabbath
تحوم شبات
boundary. Yeah.
جبول
تحوم
شباط.
شبات
Gvul Shabbat.
تحوم
تحوم
تحوم.
تحوم
The
شبات
Daily Talk, they said جبول شباط, but it's the correct what Abu Tariq said. تحوم شباط.
تحوم شبات
Yeah.
تحومين شبات
Yeah.
حتى.
Okay. Lias, any question?
Thanks.
No, thank you.
Okay. What I want to tell you now, Farid, Farid, I will give you just a second.
Evening, our friends. We have good example in Husha. What's the meaning of Gul Shabbat? The peace, the distance that Jewish can do by foot along the city, but not outside the city. Over there we have a stone. We call it right nowadays, we call it the stone of the Jew. Do you know it? It is distance of 500 meters from the center of Usha. It's a good example for that.
Hello.
Yeah, probably. I don't
Maybe.
know about that, but I know that this wire, if it is damaged or cut, people are not allowed to go out of their houses until they fix it in
Really,
Manhattan.
we understand well. The idea we understand well, but I gave the example that can see by
I
our
understand you. I understand you.
and to walk 5 minutes, 10 minutes to reach that stone where it's written the Arabs over there calling the stone of the Jew. Another thing, the issue of violi. Violi, it is the kinar in American English. Looks like really it is the shape. Give the name. The name in English is violi.
No, violin
That I know.
is a modern word. Violin is a modern word. It is
maybe,
in English, American, and British. The
Yeah.
shape of the C is like a harp, or if you want in Old English, it is lyre, L-Y-E-R.
Oh, that means violin new word. Good to know.
Violin is relatively new word, yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Excuse
you.
me.
Excuse me,
teacher.
sorry. There is somebody raised his hand, Badran, and after that, Munir, okay, Sharat.
Yeah.
Badran, please.
Hello,
Badran,
everyone.
yeah, please, he was first, yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the very nice presentation, Mr. Khalil. I question, I always wonder, is Rift Valley Road, is it part of the old international sea road that leads all the way to Syria and Turkey and Europe from there?
This is my part, yeah?
The word.
No, the Rift, it is a Syrian, African Rift. This is your question, yeah?
Yes. Is it part of the old international sea road?
The sea road.
Yes. Is it
which road you mean?
Sea road from Alexandria, Gaza.
Via Maris.
Via Maris. This
Via Maris. Yes, that's the one.
The Via Maris starts from North Africa. If we want to be precisely, it is, Alexandria, going up to Gaza, up to Lebanon. Then it goes in branches. One, even before you get to Lebanon, you go to Capernaum. One of the branches go to Capernaum, and the other goes up to Tyre and Sidon.
Yes.
But they didn't change course like east towards Syria today. They stay in the shores of the Mediterranean, is that right?
Yeah, the one that goes to Capernaum goes to Damascus.
Okay, that's what my question is. Like by Tipor, do they change course to the east? Is it like another branch of that old sea international road?
That is east. When you say it goes to Damascus, it is east of the Mediterranean.
Okay, but it doesn't touch on the Rift Valley area that much. It just like goes by the.
No, it's across the Rift Valley.
If it goes to,
it should cost.
If it goes to Capernaum, that means it is very close to the Rift Valley, because the Rift Valley starts over there.
Yeah.
Even higher.
Okay, does that touch to the mountain foot of Jabal al-Sheikh and that area there, Golan Heights?
At the foot of the Golan Heights. At the foot of the Golan Heights, because the Sea of Galilee was much higher than it is now.
It is in my part there, by the way.
Yeah.
The Nimrud fortress, is it part of that road? Is it like
we cannot say exactly. I don't know if the geologists can mark it here. They cannot point exactly where it is, but that is the area. Not the mountains, not the mountains, at the foot of the mountains.
No, definitely not the mountains, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, Badran, your accent is American, isn't it?
Canadian.
Canadian, okay. You
That's
are welcome.
beautiful.
It sounds, yeah. Okay, you are welcome, by the way. Munir Sharat, please, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can see you. First of all, thank you, Khalil. You know, Khalil is a good friend. We work together. even before I got my license, I work as a bus driver with Khalil. So I know all this story. Not also only me. Back to the instrument that you mentioned, Khalil. The harp, somebody said the harp. It's called the lute. Since I'm a musician, you all know that I'm a musician. I'm a violinist. It's called lute.
The lute is different.
Okay, it's you mentioned an instrument with 11 strings, right? 11 strings.
10.
10 or somebody okay, 10. But lute, it's sort of like al-oud عندنا, but the shape of it, it's like the shape of the kinneret or Tiberius today.
Okay,
that's
if
what
you
I
want
want to say.
okay, I will
Yeah.
not dispute with you. It's okay.
Yeah. Just because I'm a musician, yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, I don't agree, but it's okay.
Thank you. Thank you. That was my question.
Okay, thank you very much. Malik, I saw your face. You have any question? Make unmute, turn off, turn on the voice. The
I'm
microphone.
already glad. I was busy, but just now I already contact with join with you with Mr. Khalil. I'm very happy. I'm very glad always to hear you.
Thank you.
But you know, I just now I joined. But I know that you already record that I have my son of my birthday, birthday son. I was busy with him. Anyway, it was always nice to meet you and to see you. But I already hear just the last minute. It's the Capernaum. It's the border between this area and the other area.
Which is this and the other? What do you mean, this and other?
Which is mean the foot of the Golan Heights. It was at that time was the border.
Yeah, recently it is in the modern history, yes, because Capernaum was excavated in 72, and it was no man's land.
Yeah,
it was military zone.
You know, sometimes
we were allowed to go there only at the day of independence. Only.
But at that time it was I think the border, because it was all the time the Capernaum. It was already in that at that time. It was you know, between the Jews and between the Christian. All the time they are the Jews that they're trying to build more the you know, the huge building, and the Christian and trying to build the in another to you know, I just now to build you know even the same time they are doing a large churches at that time between the fourth century till the 8th century, and the other side that was the Gentiles, and this side that is it was the people that they are really had the believe in the religion, the Jews and the Christian.
Okay,
so
Malik, next lecture we will be talking about these things. Okay,
we'll be close.
Yeah.
Riyad,
our time is limited. No,
sorry
for interrupted you.
I'm very sorry, but I always it's good for me even the last minutes to see you and to see
كبير من يومك كبير. Riyad, the last question. Let's give our colleague Riyad.
Thank you. I will hear the recording.
يلا خليك. Yes, please, Riyad.
Riyad. First of all, thank you, Mr. Khalil. As usual, very, very enriching lecture you had. But I had an interesting question about the cave that you were talking about beneath the Mount of Beatitude, because we don't know anything about it. We know a little bit about it, about the church of the Byzantine church.
Yes. Since we are, our time is over.
I know it's limited.
Zoom, yeah. I promise you the first thing in the next lecture will be about the cave.
Yeah, and that would be very nice. Thank you.
No, you are
Thank you very
welcome. God bless.
Okay, God bless you all. I would like to
you.
thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Khalil. Next week and the same time at 6 o'clock afternoon, we will meet again. We will continue our trip around the Sea of Galilee, Multiplication Church, Capernaum, Beatitude, and others. Depend of time, we give each site maximum information that we can. And Mr. Khalil give us a lot of things, a lot of information, a lot of words that he could use it while you are training. Joseph, you would like to ask you, raise your hand and you put it down. Okay, you give up.
Next time.
So see you everybody next week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
شكرا
Thank you.
شكرا.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
خليل.
جوزيف المرة الجاية بتسأل.
Bye.
يلا،
Just I don't want to
Bye.
keep.
God bless you all.
Bye bye.
باي باي.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye.
اعمل ستوب.
Steve,
اخوي استنى شوي استنى.
Mr. Khalil, please tell Mr. Khalil next time